President. Tony.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Joyce Cummings Center. My name is Tony Monaco, and I'm the president of Tufts University. We've waited a long time for this day to come. It's an exciting moment for Tufts University and our host communities of Medford, Somerville, and Boston. I'm so honored to be joined here today by Governor Baker, our congressional delegation, and two of our fantastic mayors. Thank you all for making this day possible. And thank you to the ladies of Essence and the Beelzebubs for your performances this morning. It's an incredible honor for Tufts University to host this remarkable gathering this morning, and my distinct pleasure to welcome you all. Today's celebration is the result of decades of hard work and collaboration by local officials, community members, and the university. We thank everyone who played a role in making public transport a viable, sustainable, and affordable option for Tufts and our neighbors in Medford and Somerville. It's truly an honor to have the tea right outside our door. The Green Line Extension advances access, equity, and sustainability here at Tufts. The new station makes Tufts a truly transit-oriented university. And the Cummings Center that we are in today is a perfect example of the transit-oriented architecture that we plan to build moving forward. In fact, more than 2,000 Tufts employees live in Green Line communities, and they now will have mass transit access to our Medford and Somerville campus. The Green Line Extension will also mean fewer cars on our campuses, which will in turn reduce emissions, improve air quality, and move us closer to carbon neutrality and better health outcomes for our neighbors. In addition to linking our Medford, Somerville, Boston Health Sciences, and SMFA campuses to each other, it also connects Tufts to other key institutions in the greater Boston area. At the end of the day, this project isn't just about transportation. This Green Line Extension is about education, innovation, and collaboration. This Green Line Extension links some of the greatest universities and hospitals in the world. It'll link Tufts University to hubs of innovation, including Union Square, Science Park, and the Longwood Medical Area. Most importantly, the Green Line will be a corridor of collaboration. It will allow our students, faculty, and staff to intern, work, and visit some of the most important groundbreaking institutions in Massachusetts. And therefore, in the spirit of collaboration, in support of sustainability, and simply for sheer convenience, we encourage everyone to take the tea to Tufts. Finally, I just want to take a moment and thank and appreciate all the men and women who built this project. Over the last 5 years, we have watched you work to deliver every day. At the height of the pandemic, you came to work, you made sacrifices so that millions could benefit from the fruits of your labor. On behalf of everyone at Tufts University, we are so incredibly grateful for all you have done for Tufts and linking it to the rest of Boston. Now let me turn the program over to Master of Ceremonies for today, MBTA General Manager Steve Poftak. Thank you.
Thank you, President Monaco, for your warm welcome remarks. I also want to thank, I believe, every single student at Tufts University who turned out at 4:45 a.m. It is a key learning for me. Do not come to a college campus and challenge people to show up at 4:45 a.m. because they will do it. You guys were great. We had an incredible opening. We had a wonderful time opening up the service for you, and it was a great opportunity to interact with all of you. This is a great day for the MBTA, and it's a great day for our riders in this community. We are here for the grand opening of the second branch of the Green Line Extension and what is now a one-seat ride from this community to the rest of the system. I'd like to thank people who were instrumental in getting this project done. First, I start with Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for their leadership and ongoing support for the Green Line Extension. I'd like to thank Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey for their ongoing support of the MBTA and of this project. I want to thank the leadership at both MassDOT and at the MBTA. That's MassDOT Secretary Jamie Tessler, former MassDOT Secretary Stephanie Pollock, and former FMCB Chair Joe Aiello, as well as current Chair Betsy Taylor for their ongoing leadership in this project. We've also had great partners at the federal level, represented today by Assistant U.S. House Speaker Catherine Clark, for their guidance, partnership, and for joining us today. This project has happened because we've had great cooperation at the municipal level, and I want to thank Medford Mayor Breanna Lungo-Koehn, Somerville Mayor Ballantyne, and all of our municipal partners at the staff level who have worked so hard to make this project happen. I also want to recognize and thank all of our state legislators who have joined us here today, and at least who we will hear from later in the program. So thank you all. Also want to recognize the folks who actually did the work to get this done. Our design build partner, GLX Constructors. About half the people you see here in yellow vests and yellow jackets are part of the GLXC team, and we thank them for their work and for their efforts. Two more and I'll be done, I promise. I want to recognize these projects don't happen by themselves. It takes a ton of work. It takes a team to get it done. That team was led on the MBTA side of the house by GLX program manager John Dalton, and I want to recognize him and his entire team for what they have achieved. The last group I want to recognize and thank are the riders that we will be serving, the riders that we are already serving, and the communities that we serve. Thank you for your patience. We are thrilled to be able to provide this service to you. Now, I think many of you who know the arc of history on this project know that this project came very close to not happening. This project was done a couple years ago and was not going to happen. And even when it came back in the form that you see now, it faced unbelievable headwinds, unbelievable challenges in terms of COVID and supply chain issues and trying to keep everybody safe on this job. And we as a team were able to get it done. And it gives me great pride to stand here on behalf of the 6,400 employees of the MBTA and bring you this new service. So we have lots of folks here who have played a key pivotal role in this project, and I want to get out of their way. So I'm now going to invite Governor Baker to share a few words with us. Governor?
So good morning, everybody, and let me just start by saying how excited we are. I go back a long time with this project, okay? It's one of the things that happens when you get old. You have first-hand experience over time with the arc of history. And I remember people talking about this project in the 1980s. Like I personally remember people talking about it in the 1980s. And in the 1990s and the 2000s and the 2010s. And everybody here today played a role in making this happen. And that's why you're going to hear a lot of gratitude and a lot of thanks for the people who are up here and for the people who are with us in the audience. But there's one thing I want you all to know, and that is before we came here, we all dedicated the new $250 million vehicle maintenance facility at the end of this line to former Congressman Mike Capuano. Now I'm going to expect a little more than that out of you when I tell you that the main reason we were able to pay for this project was because then Congressman Capuano got $1 billion from the federal government to pay for half of the price of this project here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And that has a lot to do with why we're here today. So thank you, Mike, for your service and your work. You can't build a project like this on good intentions and words. You need dollars. And between Mike and our colleagues in state government and our colleagues in local government and our colleagues in federal government, we were able to put together the $2.3 billion that was necessary to make this happen. This will be a tremendous asset to this community and to the surrounding communities and to the greater Boston region forever. And I don't need to go through all the benefits that are associated with it because they're all ones you're quite familiar with. But I am enormously pleased that we're here today and we're able to take something that so many people have been working on for so long and finally deliver it to them so that they have that one-seat ride that Steve Poftak talked about. Congratulations and happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you, Governor. Now I'd like to invite Senator Warren to share some remarks.
Hello, Jumbos. Oh, good to be here. I've just got one word. Finally. Finally, I am happy to be here. It has been a long ride of fits and starts and near-death experiences. But we're all here to celebrate today. This is a great project, and it will give us more transportation capacity, frankly, that we've needed for more than half a century. The extension of the Green Line will increase ridership by 50,000 rides a day. That is a measure of how badly we needed it. When I came to the Senate 10 years ago, this project had already been approved, and in fact, the first moves to build the Green Line had already started. From day one that I was in the Senate, I fought to be a good Senate partner to Mike Capuano to move the funding for the Green Line along. Mike was the heart and soul of this project, and we got the federal appropriation we needed, as the governor noted. I jumped into this fight 10 years ago as a brand new senator, but I know that many people here have been in the fight even longer than that. And today's celebration is really about you. It is about the community activists who showed up meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting in order to make your voices heard. It is about the transportation, environment, and housing advocates who studied and produced the data we needed to move forward. It is about the local elected officials who would not take no for an answer every time this project seemed to have died. We are here to celebrate your persistence that got us here. But let me be clear, we need to do better. We need a transportation system that works, and that means planning for the future. We need a T that is cleaned up and runs on time. And yes, Orange Line, I'm looking at you. We need a T that moves people around to more parts of the region. Extending the Green Line is great, but we need a lot more extensions, and we can't wait 2 decades for every single one of them to come online. We need an electrified commuter rail that operates in twice as many places, that doesn't pollute our air, and that costs less money. We need clean buses to fill in between the rail lines. We need more bike lanes, and we need east-west rail. We need a well-thought-out system that is studied and planned for, and that will serve the needs of the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that. And here is the good news. Washington is offering once-in-a-generation help to build out T-stops and commuter rail and east-west rail and electric buses and bike lanes and all sorts of transit innovations. We have money in the bipartisan infrastructure plan and in the climate package in the Inflation Reduction Act. This money is available now, but the federal government will not force it down states' throats. State and local governments have to come up with good plans that make sense, and then they have to apply for the money. Other places are applying for this money right now, and when the money is gone, it is gone. Ed and Catherine and Ayanna and I will continue to be your partners in Washington to make sure that Medford and Somerville and Cambridge and all the communities across Massachusetts aren't leaving anything on the table. I want Massachusetts to build a 21st century transportation system. I want us to build a system that creates opportunities in Black and brown communities, in rural communities, and in small towns and cities that have been left behind. I want us to build a transportation system that is a key part of making our state a great state. So yeah, I am really happy to be here today, and I want to thank everyone who is here. I want to thank our mayors who are here. I want to thank everyone who came before us to get us to this point. But please, in the midst of all this celebrating, let's also talk about change, about our vision for a 21st century transportation system that will serve the generations to come. Because count on this, I'll be with you in that fight all the way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Senator Markey to share some remarks.
Good morning, everyone, and this is a jumbo day. This is a day to celebrate, and I want to thank my partner in the Senate, Elizabeth Warren, for all of her great work on this, Catherine Clark, the new Democratic whip in the House of Representatives, Ayanna Pressley, and Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito. Thank you for all of your work on this issue. And again, I want to give a special thanks to Somerville's congressman for 20 years, Mike Katjana, for all of his great work on this issue. And it's just an incredible leader, and today is a fulfillment of a vision which he had. I'm thrilled to be here celebrating this opening. For the first time, thousands of Somerville and Medford residents can board subway trains from right in their neighborhood and travel to Boston and the rest of the MBTA network, opening doors of educational and economic opportunity while promoting a safer, cleaner, greener mode of transportation. With 50,000 riders projected every day, the Green Line Extension is a critical step towards a Green New Deal future in Greater Boston. This is the heart of it. And I am so grateful that 2022 is concluding on this high note after a year in which the T had questions raised about it. This year has caused us to consider carefully, as a result, the role that Greater Boston's transit plays in our lives, how our public systems should be accountable to residents, and where the T should go from here. But days like today give me hope. Hope because the people united here today truly care about the T and the people who ride it. Hope because we share common goals to make public transit a public good, to reduce congestion on our roads and clean the air we breathe, to allow anyone, regardless of income or geography, to travel safely, reliably, affordably, and sustainably. Hope because today's celebration can serve as a model for what is possible when we put our faith in a shared ambition and when we invest the time, the resources, the brain power to realize that ambition. The collaboration and tenacity on display here can be the guiding star on our journey ahead as we work together to chart a shining green future for the T. And that's why Senator Warren and I partnered with Mike Katjana in the Senate and the House to ensure that the funding would be here for the Green Line Extension over the past decade. A transportation vision without funding is an hallucination. And finally, we got the green in order to turn it into a green line. And a green line is a money line as well, as we see expansion of economic opportunity for everyone. My colleagues and I are going to continue to fight for robust funding, both to keep the T in a state of good repair and to pursue transformative community-defining projects like the Green Line Extension, like electrifying the bus fleet and the commuter rail, and making public transit fare-free for those who need it. These investments will require close partnerships, and I thank the MBTA leadership for the commitment to open communication and transparency with current and future riders. I'm grateful for the dialogue, and I look forward to that continuing. And finally, as the Medford branch inaugurates a new chapter in MBTA history, we must center riders and residents who call Greater Boston home, especially the Black, brown, disabled, immigrant, lower-income individuals who disproportionately use the T. They know better than anyone how public transit is an express route towards justice. That means mobility justice to allow everyone in our communities to safely, easily, and affordably get to where they need to go. That means environmental justice to correct the historic wrongs against low-income neighborhoods and communities of color who for far too long have borne the harms of transit pollution. And it means housing justice to ensure that the people of Medford and Somerville, the working class residents, the immigrant communities are not displaced by rising rents and new developments along the Green Line. We must ensure that the people who most benefit from public transit can continue to live near that public transit. So the opening of the Green Line Extension is a statement of our values, and today we celebrate that landmark achievement. I thank everyone who has had a role in making this day possible. Congratulations to Tufts, to Medford, for Somerville. This is the dawn of a new green era. Thank you all. Congratulations.
Now I'd like to invite Assistant House Speaker Catherine Clark to provide some remarks.
Good morning. Let's hear it. Good morning. Thank you, Steve. It's a good green morning, and thanks to our host, President Monaco, to Tufts University, to all the jumbos out there. This is a beautiful facility, and we are so grateful for your commitment to community. And I want to thank Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, Senators Warren and Markey, Mayors Lungo-Koehn and Ballantyne, Senator Jalen and Rep. Barber, the rest of the state delegation and city councilors who are here, to everyone at the MBTA, from the people who worked on this project to everyone who helped build it and bring it to life. And to all the friends and neighbors in this crowd, we thank you for being part of this truly momentous occasion. It was so exciting to be able for the first time to take the T to get to Medford. And because while getting from the Katjana maintenance facility to Medford was a quick trip, it has been a long road. And I want to especially thank my friend and former colleague, Mike Capuano. When we started the work, when the work was begun on this, students can look up this show. There was a popular TV show called The $6 Million Man, and Mike came through as the $1 billion man to get this done. And today is about the countless residents, advocates, and public leaders who dedicated their time and energy to this project, many of whom are in this room. And we know there were barriers, there were bumps in the road, but we saw the public sector, private citizens of Medford, Somerville, and Cambridge come together to problem solve, to regroup, and move this project forward. It is a shining example of partnership and perseverance, of federal, state, and local leaders coming together to make investments that make a real difference to families. The Green Line Extension will deliver long overdue economic development, environmental justice, and public health benefits to the communities along the corridor, reaffirming our belief that public transit is a public good. And I am so excited to celebrate this historic milestone, so grateful to everyone who is going to continue to work to build a more equitable and inclusive future for the 5th District and for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I look forward to coming back when we honor and celebrate the extension to the Mystic Valley Parkway, Route 16. We are going to make it a reality. I am so grateful to all of you and wish you all the happiest of holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite MassDOT Secretary Jamie Tessler to share a few remarks.
Thanks, Steve, and thank you everyone for this morning and for being here. I'm going to be very quick because there's so many great speakers today and it's such an exciting day. I do want to build off on what prior speakers have, the words they've used is passion and perseverance. And we all know this is decades in the making. And for those of us who work at MassDOT and the MBTA, those of us who work in the public sector in transportation, days like today are why we do this. It's where our passion, your passion, and the perseverance of so many people in this room comes together and delivers real results. And we can see it outside the window with real trains and real riders. And we can feel it in the room with everyone's passion today for this. If you were here at 4:45 in the morning, you definitely experienced that passion. And there's been so many moments along the way without that passion and without that perseverance. And without all of you, this day would never have come. The other thing I want to just touch on is projects like this, multi-billion-dollar projects like this, do turn on key moments. And this project, as prior speakers have said, had several crossroads. It had a key moment a few years ago where decisions had to be made. And with the leadership of Governor Baker and the Lieutenant Governor, with the leadership of my predecessor, Stephanie Pollock, with the leadership of Joe Aiello as board chair, with the leadership and stepping in to help this project, Jack Wright, who I want to recognize, who also at a very tough moment. And without the ongoing leadership of John Dalton and team, we would never be here. There were hard moments, they required hard decisions, and that passion and perseverance, which all of you brought to the table, connected with that leadership, and today delivered this amazing result. We're thrilled to be here. I know that all of us who work in MassDOT and the MBTA, this is why we do this. It is for days like today. So it's a thrill to be here. Thank you all, and enjoy the Green Line.
In my opening remarks, I talked about how important the partnerships were with municipalities, and for the next few speakers are going to be representatives from those municipalities. So I'd like to invite Medford Mayor Breanna Lungo-Koehn to give us a few remarks.
Good morning, and thank you. I was lucky to be able to be at this Fall Square stop with Mayor Ballantyne and the band at 7, but I heard the Tufts students were at the 4:45 a.m. train singing Sweet Caroline, so I heard it was a blast. Anyway, thank you for the dignitaries for joining us, for all the work you've done. I see the City Council, I see from Medford and Somerville here, I see Director Blake, Traffic and Transportation Director, so to the employees, to the riders, to the Tufts riders, good morning and thank you. It's hard to believe this day is finally here. I'm honored and so incredibly happy to stand in front of you all and officially welcome you to the new Green Line Extension stops right here in Medford and Somerville. There are so many people to thank and to recognize for making this day a reality. Many are here on stage, here in the crowd, and here in spirit. But I need to take this opportunity to highlight a few community advocates who have made so many sacrifices in their own life, giving up their free time and spending countless hours poring over policy briefs, zoning ordinances, transportation guidance, talking with local residents and businesses, and the list goes on. Without their determination, advocacy, and resilience, we may have never seen the Green Line come to the city of Medford. So thank you to our community working group, led by Laurel Ruma, Jim, I hope she's here. I hope she's here somewhere. Jim Silva, City Council President Nicole Morrell. From the beginning, they have been vocal leaders, making sure the needs of Medford are recognized, heard, and met. I especially want to highlight Laurel Ruma, who has spent the past 12 years of her life making this day happen. It speaks to your character, Laurel, that you would give up so much of your own time to ensure your community is prioritized. The benefits that the people of Medford will receive from this extension are enormous. We will reduce our reliance on automobiles, bring more public transportation connections, and create new opportunities for residents of Medford and Somerville. We have a lofty yet attainable goal of reducing our carbon emissions by 50% over the next decade, with the ultimate goal of achieving zero emissions by 2050. This extension helps us get there, but there's still more work to do, and the Medford Tufts station is not our vision for the end of the Green Line. We need additional investments in our public infrastructure and fully recognize the potential that Phase 2 of the GLX will have on this region. We will continue to push very strongly for an environmental impact study that will help us with this path forward. There's so much opportunity here, so much to be thankful for, and so much to be hopeful for. But this celebration should not be the end of our advocacy for the better. More equitable, more environmentally focused transit and city planning. This celebration shows what happens when our communities unite and work together to make our lives and our experiences more meaningful. So let's celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It's now my pleasure to introduce Somerville Mayor Katjana Ballantyne.
Thank you, Steve, for introducing me and all your hard work. Thank you to Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito and all my fellow elected officials, Congressman Capuano, public servants, advocates, residents, T-riders who came out to mark this long-awaited moment, the opening of the Green Line Extension. Let's start with some numbers. 22 million pounds of steel, 100,000 railroad ties, 21,000 feet of pilings, 4+ years of steady construction. Building the Green Line Extension was a monumental effort, no doubt. But backing up these impressive stats is something harder to measure, but just as important: vision. Well before workers laid down the first stretch of rail, we needed collective vision for a greener, cleaner, and more equitable, prosperous, and just future. Before we could create it, we had to imagine it. Post-war urban renewal projects slapped down highways across our neighborhoods and took away trolleys from the urban ring. Yes, I-93 made it easier for suburbanites and trucks to drive downtown, but it divided our urban neighborhoods, polluted our airs, produced serious health impacts, hurt local businesses, razed homes, displaced families, and wiped out local jobs. These were the unintended consequences of planning for some, but not all. These injustices inspired activism, decades of it. The Conservation Law Foundation filed their seminal lawsuit in 1990. Somerville's Mystic Valley Task Force and Somerville's Transportation Equity Partnership laid the groundwork for change over decades. They inspired us to work for mixed-use, transit-oriented development, a vision that would help us to recreate a community with good jobs and more. Affordable housing, more equitable public transit access, greater sustainability, and a healthier environment. The Friends of the Community Path shared their vision for multimodal transit and worked to extend the path along the Green Line for pedestrians and cyclists. Countless individuals turned out at every chance to speak up. It's been a long haul. I remember bringing my 8-year-old daughter to testify for cleaner air at the packed Green Line meeting at the Somerville High School in 2005 during the Red Sox playoffs. She asked me that night when she'd get to ride the train. We know the answer now: when you're 26. But finally, that collective vision and hard work got us here. And there's so many people to recognize and thank. From the governor for staying the course, to our federal and state delegation who advocated for funding and support, to our mayors and councilors who fought to keep the project alive time and again. Former Mayor Joe Curtatone, I'm looking at you. To the many more it took to envision this, fight for it, plan for it, design for it, engineer for it, to build for it, get it running, and to send that first train down the tracks this morning at 4:45 a.m. This is civil society at its best, churning towards progress. But I especially want to thank those outside the public eye, who move mountains, but often then stand in their shadows. So if any of you were with me a few months back, I have to list some names. Members of the STEP include Ellen Reisner, Karen Malloy, Wig Zamor, Jim McGinnis, Christy Chase, Andrea Yakovokis, Steve Mulder, Rachel Fichenbaum, Gabe Stiller, Dan Fairchild, Steve Kaiser, members of Mystic Valley Task Force, Bill Sheldon, Barbara Steiner, Don Meglio, members of the Friends of the Community Path, Lynn Weissman, Joel Bennett, Alan Moore, Rachel Burkhart, and Jonah Petrie. Members of Medford Green Line Neighborhood Alliance, Ken Kraus, Elizabeth Bale, John Rowland Elliott, Doug Carr, and Laurel Ruma. Conservation Law Foundation, of course, Doug Foy, Raphael Maris, Carrie Russell. The East Cambridge Planning Team, Heather Hoffman, Alan Green, Mark Jaquith. And local and regional advocates and partners, including but definitely not limited to Todd Kaplan, Polly Polk, Heather Van Alst, Ann Tate, the Somerville Chamber of Commerce, Stephen Mackey, Tom Bent, Somerville Redevelopment Authority, Dan Grabowskis, Fred Salvucci, Jim Aliosi, Rich Davey, David Moeller, Eric Barbosa, Kate Fichter, Christine Kirby. And last but not least, the City of Somerville's mobility, planning, and economic development teams for the immeasurable amount of work they did over the years to engage, inform, and advocate for our residents. Today is a milestone, but there is still more visioning and work to be done for better access to local jobs, for housing as a human right, for carbon neutrality and a healthier environment. And we must double down on ongoing efforts to address displacement and gentrification. If we want to not just celebrate this public transit achievement, but honor it, we must look to our future with planning for all as our guide. We must come to see public transit as a necessary public good like education or roads. We must envision a world-class public transit system that will advance the Commonwealth's economic competitiveness, social progress, climate action agenda. Today, we celebrate, today, we ride, but tomorrow we must continue the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd now like to invite State Representative Christine Barber to say a few words, and I'd also like to invite the rest of the state legislative delegation to join her on stage.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christine Barber, State Representative for parts of Somerville and Medford, and so proud to be the representative for Tufts University right here. I want to thank the organizers of this event, Tufts, for hosting us. I am so overjoyed to be here, finally. I want to start by thanking and acknowledging all of my colleagues who are up here with me, Representative Sean Garbely, Senator Pat Jalen, Representative Mike Connolly, Representative Erica Eiderhoven, and as well as former Representative Denise Provo. I also want to acknowledge my current and former staff and the staff on all of our teams. So wrangling the funding and the details of a project like this is truly a team effort, and I'm so grateful for everyone's work on this project. I'd also like to thank our incredible federal delegation, Senator Markey, Senator Warren, Congresswoman Clark, Congresswoman Presley, former Congressman Capuano. Without federal funding, as you've heard, this would literally not have been possible. And to our local leadership, having mayors like Katjana Ballantyne from Somerville, Mayor Lungo-Koehn from Medford, as well as former mayors Joe Curtatone and Stephanie Muccini-Burke, who, along with their staff, they shepherded this project through day-to-day details in an incredible way, and I'm so grateful for them. To the T employees and the laborers who worked on this project over the last decade, I am grateful. I'm grateful for the T for continuing to lead this effort and making sure that this project actually got done. So after decades of advocacy, I'm thrilled to be celebrating the opening of the Green Line Extension with all of you here in Somerville and Medford. This is a public works project that's the result of years of hard work from countless community members, laborers, activists, government colleagues, and I'm proud that we've actually made it to this day to celebrate together on this opening day. Like many of you, riding the GLX today feels like a dream come true. I too remember being at countless meetings, including the one during the Red Sox playoffs, where we were demanding the T to build something, but not sure it actually ever happened. And now we have Green Line trains from Leechmere to Union to Gilman, right here to College Ave, decades after that first push for better transit. But this isn't just a government effort. As you've heard, it's truly a community-led public works project. Activists from STEP spent decades fighting to build the GLX. Environmental stewards from Conservation Law Foundation fought for it in court. Working group members spent a decade planning this project. Business leaders from our squares fought for it. Countless others showed up over and over to demand better public transit. We are only here today because of the work of so many people across Somerville, Medford, and the entire region to make this the first great expansion of public transit in Massachusetts in decades. We've also felt the challenges as a community. Many residents have lived in a construction zone for years. Our businesses have weathered closed roads, bridges, significant drops in customers. We've had rising rents and speculation that have led to many being displaced from our city due to rising housing costs and forced all of us working together to address the lack of affordable housing for residents and stabilizing rents. But the GLX will have an immediate impact on the lives, economy, and health of people living in our community. It introduces clean public transit through some of the most densely populated areas of our state and our country. It makes critical improvements to air quality and is crucial for economic mobility, including serving a number of environmental justice communities that face intense traffic congestion. And the GLX provided opportunities for us to create more sustainable development and boost transit ridership. So today is a day to celebrate. We have shown that we can do big things together when we work together. And that's good because there's more to do. When we started this work, the original terminus was at Route 16, Mystic Valley Parkway. And we are continuing to push and move that work forward to make sure we get to the Route 16 stop to make greater mobility and air quality improvements. And I do want to thank the GLX team because the work that was done here will not preclude any other future expansions that we're going to do on this line. So the T is essential for our economy, for our ability to address climate justice, and also for people to get to work, to school, doctor, and the grocery store. We need to recommit to making the T safe, reliable, and accessible, the transit system that our communities need. So we can do this. We've shown today that we can do big things when we work together. Today is a win for clean air, for the health and mobility of people in our communities. Today is a day to celebrate, to thank each other, to re-energize, to ride the train, and to continue to dream about what's next. Thank you.
So that concludes our speaking program for today. I just want to close by thanking all of you for coming. I want to thank, in particular, everyone in a vest who has worked on this project and has gotten it done. Thank you. Thank you, Dee. Thank you. So with that, I know many of us have a train to catch. So I encourage you to go out, use the new service, explore, and thank you for coming.
It's really good. Totally open.